Let's talk about kerosene pickles. Let's talk about Old Man Rimshaw. Let's talk about Barney's sidecar. It's always fun to hang out with y'all. A loaded goat is causing a stir from the panic he is creating. Come on in, take a seat. It's 2 chairs, no waiting. Sit a spell and tune right in. We are about to start the show. We have a lot to talk about with the folks that we all know. Opie, Andy, and Otis, Barn, and the Darlings too. This will be amazing. It's 2 chairs, no waiting.
Mayberry Fun Stuff, episode number 841.
It's 2 chairs, no waiting. It's 2 chairs, no waiting. Let's start the show. 2 chairs, no waiting.
I can't sing it. That's a great job. Thank you guys for singing us in. Hello, everybody. I'm Allan Newsome, the host of 2 Chairs, No Waiting. It is awesome to spend time talking about the Andy Griffith Show. We're going to be talking about some Mayberry fun stuff tonight. So the Weaver's newsletter just came out. So if you don't get that, I definitely encourage you to subscribe to the Weaver's newsletter because first off, it's free. It's free. It doesn't cost you nothing. So you can head over to Weaver's and there's a newsletter link there and you can sign up for the Weaver's newsletter. And don't be fooled into thinking that all the Weaver's newsletter shows or tells you about is new products, because there's more in there than that. And for listeners here on the podcast, some of the things in the Weaver's newsletter will be familiar and others won't, or they'll be expanded upon in the newsletter or here on the podcast, because I cover in both places. Complete disclosure, I write the Weaver's newsletter. So if you enjoy the podcast, hopefully you would enjoy the newsletter as well. And obviously it helps bring in for our sponsor, Weaver's Department Store, which again, my wife runs and I do the newsletter and the websites for. So all disclosure there to you guys. We're going to go through some of the newsletter, not all of it. And I encourage you to go and check it out yourself because there's pictures and all kinds of cool things in there. But we've got some voicemail. We got a voicemail. We got a few feedback messages that I think you're going to really enjoy. And hopefully we're going to have plenty of time to be able to play a little bit of trivia here at the end of the podcast. So the executive producer of episode number 841, by the way, is Jim Clark. Jim Clark, the presiding goober emeritus of the Andy Griffith Show Reunion Watchers Club. We wouldn't be doing any of this stuff if it wasn't for him. So we really appreciate Jim. So let's head over and check out some of the stuff that's in the Weaver's newsletter. Now, again, I'm not going to go through all of it because, there's a lot. There's a lot in there that I don't really feel like we need to cover here. But there are a few things that are in the newsletter that I think would be fun to just kind of reiterate. Now, if you don't know about the Weaver's newsletter, it does have things in there about products like the new Mayberry Lawman lounge pants that they have we have at Weaver's, and also a shirt that goes with it. It doesn't really go with it, but it's a shirt made just out of the same material. Both of these lounge pants and this shirt, they have a squad car, the door badge from the side of the squad car, the shield on the side. They got badges. It's got gavel. It's got all kinds of stuff on there, kind of like a Hawaiian shirt. And so it's definitely fun to go and check out if you haven't done that. I've had a lot of people have really been loving it. So there's a really good report in the Weaver's newsletter about the Mayberry I Love Lucy Festival that was held in Granville, Tennessee. Now, one of the parts of that report, if you go and read the newsletter, it not only tells you everything about who was there, Dennis Rush, Keith Thibodeau, Dixie Griffith. Dennis Rush, by the way, just so everybody knows, is Howie Pruitt, or, he's Howie on the Andy Griffith Show, Opie's buddy. And Keith Thibodeau was Johnny Paul Jason on the Andy Griffith Show, but he also was Little Ricky on I Love Lucy. So for the Mayberry I Love Lucy Festival, pretty cool to have him there with us as well. But it's got all that information in there. Dixie Griffith, Andy's daughter, and Karen Knotts, Don's daughter, were also there with us. It was a great time, great report. Go in there and check out that report. I'm not going to read the report, but one of the cool things in there is you guys that listen to the podcast have already heard the report by Steve, Indiana Steve, that's in our chat room on Monday nights. The podcast comes out on Tuesdays, but on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we gather together and folks are in our chat rooms and they visit with one another. And if you'd like to be a part of that, you can head over there to live.twochairsnowaiting.com on Monday nights and join in with it. But Indiana Steve is in one of the chat rooms and he wrote, or actually called in. So we heard his voice here on the podcast, but the transcript of that is in the newsletter as well. So like I said, I repurposed in some of the stuff. I hope you don't mind that. There's a link in there to episode number 839, which was Keith Thibodeau and Dennis Rush's interview here on the podcast. Definitely, if you have not heard that, definitely go and check it out. It is well worth the listen, and I know you would really enjoy it. There's other things in the newsletter like t-shirt designs, different shirts. There's a Fun Girl shirt that's called Hello Dolls. Really cool shirts that I think you'd like, especially maybe the ladies out there. If there are ladies that listen to the podcast, there are a few. I never hear from too many of the ladies, but I do hear from time to time. But one of the things I did talk about in the newsletter, and I want to just kind of reiterate here, and I'm not going to read it exactly, but I just want to encourage all you folks to go to one of the Mayberry events that you hear about. We're going to talk about in just a minute here in the calendar section. There are Mayberry events held around the Southeast, especially in Midwest, that are Mayberry related, and you can go and you can just have a great time at these events. And I guess the reason I wanted to point this out is because this year the Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg was postponed. It was postponed this year. And as part of that, it really made me start to really think even more about the fact that I hear from people all the time, wow, I'd really like to go to Mayberry Day sometimes, or I'd like to go to Mayberry in the Midwest, which is no longer held, or Mayberry Comes to Westminster, which is no longer held, or some of these other events that occur that are Mayberry related. Most of these events, other than Mayberry Days, usually have a run of about 3 to 5 years, and then they kind of dwindle away. And that's because the organizers, you may not realize as well, the organizers of these events, they work extremely hard to put on a 1 or 2 day, maybe even a 3-day event. They have to gather volunteers. There's all this that has to go on. And you may also not realize they have to either pay for the travel or both, and pay for hotels for all the special guests that might come. Like if you have special guests that are cast members, all that has to get paid for. And it's very stressful for these organizers. They love the Andy Griffith Show. They love Mayberry, but they can only do it for so long until they just wear out. Truthfully, they wear out. So I want to encourage you, because next year, Mayberry in the Midwest is coming back in 2026. So that's what made me start thinking about, you really need to try and attend if you want to. If it's not something you can do, or if you're not able to, completely understand. But if it's something you really want to do, like the ones that always gets me, I hear people all the time tell me that they live within an hour of Mount Airy, North Carolina, where Mayberry Days is held. And Mayberry Days has been being held since 89, I think, every year, 89 or 90, I can't remember. But it's been 30 something years, 35, 34 years. And these people say, I'd really like to go. I knew about it, but I've never been. In 30 years, you've never been able to work that into your schedule? And granted, I understand people may not really want to go, and obviously they don't if they haven't been in all that time. But I am encouraging you. They don't last forever. Things don't last forever. As much as we love all these events and all the Andy Griffith Show stuff, nothing lasts forever. And I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity to go to one of these events and not only meet cast members or tribute artists or whoever like that, but you're going to meet fellow fans of the Andy Griffith Show. And I just cannot tell you that how much the fans from the Andy Griffith Show have meant in my life. And they could be the same for you. Some of the folks that I've met at these Mayberry events are are some of my best friends now. They are like family nearly to you. And you're really missing out if you don't try to make your way to one of these events. Off my soapbox, you can go and read about it in the newsletter. I gave a little bit more detail than that, but you can go and check it out. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff in the newsletter. Like, for instance, things for sale. They have a barbershop shaving kit, which is not really a shaving kit, but it's actually a bar of soap that looks like red, white, and blue, like a barber pole. And they have, the best part of it is they have 2 chairs no waiting mugs over at Weaver's. You can get a 2 chairs no waiting mug with Floyd on it, the character here from the podcast. And you can also get a lather brush. So they're all sold separately, so you can buy any pieces of it. But you can you can make that sound, clip, 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 when you're mixing up your lather. You may not understand because you're not a barber, but go and check those out while you're there, and just check it out. All the fun things there. Now, as I mentioned, all these events that are coming up, there is a Floyd's Barbershop bulletin board and event calendar in the newsletter. It's also, if you just go to imayberry.com, there's a link there to Mayberry events, so you can go to the event calendar and find out all this information current. But every other month when Weaver's newsletter comes out, it is mailed to you. You get an email and you can go and read these things. Just a few things that are coming up. If you're in the Ohio area, Hartville, Ohio, Karen Knotts, Don's daughter, will be doing her Tied Up in Knots show at Hartsville Kitchen in Hartsville, Ohio. That's on the 5th of June. So go and check it out. If you're in the Mount Airy area on June the 14th, Professor Brower, Neil Brower himself, will be doing Professor Brower's lecture at the Andy Griffith Museum Theater. It's free with admission to the Andy Griffith Museum, and he'll be doing it on the episode called Barney Gets His Man. Go check that out. Just the same day, if you're in New Hampshire, you can go see Karen. She's going to be there June 14th doing her Tied Up in Knots show. So go and check that out at the Park Theater in Jaffrey, New Hampshire. So there's all kinds of fun things like that coming up. I'm not going to talk much about this because I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but in July the 18th and the 19th, that weekend, we're going to be having the annual Mayberry Meetup. It's actually the 13th annual. So we'll say it's the 12+1 annual meetup. It's all sponsored by the Two Chairs No Waiting podcast. We'll be meeting at Mount Airy. I'll tell a little bit more about that in just a minute, but that's definitely something you might want to attend and meet up with a whole bunch of Mayberry fans in Mount Airy at a time when it's not quite as busy as Mayberry days. That same weekend, we're going to have Neil Brower there. He's going to be doing another one of his presentations at the Andy Griffith Museum Theater. And it's going to be on Lawman Barney. So go, it's all included. If you're in that area, or if you're going to be in the Nashville area, maybe on that Sunday, July the 20th, you'll be able to head over to see Rodney Dillard. That's right, the guitar playing darling boy. He's going to be there at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. He's going to be performing at the Musician Spotlight. It's going to feature Rodney. So go and check that out. You can get information about it by visiting countrymusichofoffame.org. You can do it that way, or just go and check out the event calendar. It's got information in there, including a phone number you can call. But countrymusichofoffame.org is the website to go and check out the Musician Spotlight on July the 20th featuring Rodney. Now, there's a lot more stuff in the newsletter about events. Professor Brower's got another lecture in August. You'll forget it by then, so I'm not going to tell you about it. But if you're interested, go and check it out. September the 22nd through the 28th is the 36th annual Mayberry Day. There we find out how long it's been. 36th annual Mayberry Days in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Try to make plans to attend. We're going to have some fun folks there. We've already got confirmed Rodney Dillard is going to be there. Rodney Dillard, the guitar playing darling boy. Keith Thibodeau, as I mentioned earlier. Dennis Rush is going to be there. Margaret Till, she was from a Color episode where she played Agnes Jean Parker. when Andy went to see Barney when in the color episodes. Bettina Link is planning to come, so that'll be great to see her. She's the widow of the Andy Griffith Show producer Richard O. Link, if you don't know who he is. Karen Knotts will be there. Bill Knotts, that's Don's nephew. He's also going to be attending Mayberry Days. Peter Ackerman, the son of Miss Ellie herself, Eleanor Donahue. Andy Bullock, Carrie Scarvey, I'm sorry, Carrie, I said your name wrong, and Courtney Bullock. Those are the children of writer Harvey Bullock, who wrote 31 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. They're going to be attending. So that's just another cool thing to see. We got Dan Roebuck, who was Cliff, if you don't remember Cliff Lewis on Matlock. He's a huge Andy Griffith guy as well. Great guy. A lot of fun to meet. Anyway, there's more going to be there. Dick Atkins is planning to be there. There's other special guests that are bound to be determined later. So be checking that out. You can always go over to mayberrydays.org and find out more information. And finally, in the event calendar, we've got the Mayberry Cruise. Now, that is important. So if you want to go on the Mayberry Cruise, you better reach out to All About Cruises right now, real soon, because we're going to be traveling with Dennis Rush. Howie's going with us, and Cutter and Cash in the Kentucky Grass, great bluegrass band that I know you'd enjoy. It's going to be a Halloween cruise. Ooh, Halloween. Oh, he's here, right here with us in this room. Yeah, so check that out. Go to All About Cruises. You can go there. You can give them a call or check out in the newsletter or at the event calendar how to get in touch with them. They're on Facebook, really, is the best place to get to them. It's All About Cruises, North Carolina, or All About, check those out. They're in North Carolina. So check them out. That's the only way you can be a part of the Mayberry Cruises, if you book it through that cruise agency. And if you're going to do that, head over to Weaver's and pick up a Mayberry Cruise t-shirt, the Cruise to Mayberry t-shirts. There's two of them. It's got a cool shirt. It's a cool shirt with it's a ship that looks like a Mayberry squad car on the front. And it just says Cruise to Mayberry. There's a blue one and a pink. That's not really the colors, but for all the men, it's blue or pink. It's a light blue or a kind of a pink color. I think it's called Heatherberry. Yeah, Heatherberry. There's artwork out there, all kinds of stuff. And there's information about Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg and all the activities going up around the 2026 version. You can go and check that out while you're there. There's also all the information about the Mayberry Meetup. Now, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about here. The Mayberry Meetup, we started it years ago, back in 2008, I believe. I'd have to read my own article to figure that out. But I went to Mount Airy to interview Betty Lynn for the podcast. And believe it or not, that one event is what's caused this all to be going on, because I'd really just intended to go and interview Betty. There was no intention to do a yearly event. But back in 2013 is when it was, by the way. I went to Mount Airy to give Betty to interview her. You can go and listen to that interview. It's episode number 250 of the podcast. It's actually a two-parter, but you can go and listen to that. And that's how the whole Mayberry Meetup even got started. And people, after the event, people started asking, hey, when are we going to do it again next year? And I was like, next year? I wasn't going to do it again next year. So anyway, that's how it got started. And this year is our 13th annual Mayberry Meetup. It started off with about 30 people showing up, and now we're having 150, 200 people possibly show up over the weekend. It runs from basically Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday morning we do the Mayberry Bible study, and then everybody heads home after a fun weekend of visiting and just doing things that you like to do. So go and check that out. If you'd like to come, there's information out on the web that I've been posting, and it's going to be in our show notes. You can go and check out. It's got all the information about the event. It's a link to it for information and the schedule. And it has all the scheduled information there, and plus a way to register. If you would like to register to come to the Mayberry Meetup, it's the 13th annual Mayberry Meetup. There's a link in the show notes for the podcast episode tonight that will let you go and sign up. And all signing up does is let me know that you are coming. So don't feel like anything strange is going to happen. Some of the things that it does let me see, right now we've had 18 responders, but I think that's about 30 people that have told me for sure they're coming. But I know there's others that are coming that just haven't signed up yet. But right now, most of them have heard about it from the Two Chairs No Waiting podcast. So I'm trying to make sure you guys know about it if you'd like to attend the end of July there. And but all the information is used only by me, so don't feel like it's going to get out of there, so you're clear, you're good to go. If you're coming to Mount Airy that weekend, now one of the things I do want to mention is something you might like to do, because during the day you have all kinds of time to do whatever you'd like, and at night we get together and watch episodes of the Andy Griffith Show at the Mayberry Motor Inn gazebo. And one of the things that might be fun for you, there's a Mayberry travel guide that's written by Randy Turner, who has done the This Week in Mayberry History segments here for the podcast. It's called the Mayberry Travel Guide, and he just updated it in 2023. But it's basically a guide for Andy's hometown of Mount Airy, North Carolina. It's a great book, and it gives you all kinds of great information about things to do in and around Mount Airy. Plus, it has a lot of just cool Mayberry stuff in there too. So go over to Weavers and check out the Mayberry Travel Guide if you're traveling to Mount Airy, if you'd like to. While you're there, check out everything else they've got over there. They've got, my goodness, they've got candles now. Got keychains from the hotel. You can get a keychain that looks like the keychain from the key to the hotel of Mayberry. Definitely something you guys, I think, would want to check out. Weavers tries extremely hard to be able to get information and put it together, or get products that makes it fun for all of us. So definitely go check that out. My wife works very hard at that. So also when you're in there at the newsletter, you can check out news of cast and crew. Now there's been some really cool news that you've already heard about here on the podcast about Ron Howard being at the Steel City Comic-Con in Pittsburgh area earlier this year, and meeting up with the Happy Days folks and having a good time meeting there. There was a nice little bit that I was able to find out about this in an interview published on March the 29th of this year by People magazine. Ron expressed that he would consider returning to acting if he was cast by his daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, in a role. At 71, his primary focus is directing and producing, and notably through Imagine Entertainment with Brian Grazer. But he recently played himself in an episode of a TV show called The Studio and enjoyed the experience very much. He mentioned it's endlessly fascinating, and he indicated an openness to acting again under the right circumstances, particularly if the project was directed by his 44-year-old daughter. I don't know if he should have told how old she was, but he did. Of Ron's acting in the studio, by the way, this was funny. His daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, herself an actor, by the way, and she does direct as well. She found that she was more nervous than her father was for his return to acting on screen. She accompanied Ron to the set, and she said, "I was very nervous for him, so I went with him." She said she was like his momager. So she was his momager, not manager. So she was taking care of him going to the thing. She had no need to be nervous, though, because he quickly showed he still got it as an actor. Bryce joked with her dad, saying, "I guess you've learned a little bit from Tom Hanks over the year." So then she went on to tell him, I said, "You were great before Tom Hanks, but he definitely rubbed off on you." There's all kinds of stuff like that in the Weavers newsletter. I definitely want you to go and check it out. You'll be able to find out some more information about Ron. There's some stuff in there about Clint, his brother, who played Leon on the show. Margaret Carey, by the way, we should just go ahead and wish her a nice happy birthday. She had a birthday, turned 96 just recently. And so she was, there's a picture of her reading some of her mail that she got for her 96th birthday. And it's great. There were a lot of birthdays in this last month or so here that were Mayberry related. There's information about Dennis Rush and Keith Thibodeau and Rodney Dillard as well, who also celebrated a birthday. And he and his wife Beverly celebrated their 42nd wedding anniversary back on the 19th of March. So, wow, it's all pretty cool. And Ruta Lee also just had a birthday. So, I mean, it's Ruta Lee. She was Gene Boswell, that college kid. Hey, Andy, it's that college kid. And Darlene Mason. She just recently had a birthday as well. And there's a lot of cool stuff that you'll be able to find out in there. There's information about chapters. The Mayberry chapter in particular does a whole lot of things. The Mayberry chapter of the Andy Griffith Show Rio and Watchers Club. One of the things they do, I'd like to mention, is if you like newsletters, they actually put out a paper newsletter that you can get. You have to subscribe to it, and it's $20. You get 2 or 3 16-page issues each year. It's all written by Dennis Bill, the writer, editor, publisher of the Mayberry Chapters newsletter called the Mayberry Minutes. So if you'd like to get a copy of that, there's information in the newsletter telling you exactly how to get that other newsletter. So definitely go and check that out. So there's also an article in there about the Mayberry Retreat. Now, during the Mayberry Retreat, I want to mention that the Blood Brothers chapter, the leader of that chapter, Jonna Clark, she did a presentation during the Mayberry Retreat about quilting. So I want to pause for just a minute, running through the newsletter, because we just got in a little bit of information from one of our listeners, viewers, Chris Merrill. He had written in to tell me, he said, "Hey, Allan and Janet, hope you had a wonderful holiday with family and friends." So he said he'd been reflecting back on the past year and everything, and he just hoped everything was good. Thank you very much, Chris. As you can tell, he wrote me this a little while ago, but he said, Jackie, one of our members, loves to quilt. This is the reason I'm tying this in with this part, because of Jonna. We wanted to do a quilt for the chapter, and she and Chris got together and started thinking up ideas, and they had an idea to use and make a t-shirt quilt. So they went out and made a shirt made out of t-shirts from the Andy Griffith Show, or Andy Griffith Show t-shirts. So it took her about 5 months to finish, and she still sews it all by hand, by the way, no sewing machines. And after she finished, she wanted to enter it in the South Carolina State Fair. Well, Jackie won some ribbons in the past for quilting in the fair. Well, wouldn't you know, she won a blue ribbon for this quilt. We are still way back of Clara, but it's a start. So he sent me a picture, and if you get to see the video version of this, you will see the picture. But his grandsons, are holding the ribbon, and he and Luke Knight. So Blake Knight is his grandson that's holding the ribbon, and Luke Knight and Chris are holding the quilt up for us all to see. So wow, I thought that was really cool, and it tied in so well to the information about the Mayberry Retreat. So I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that, and thanks, Chris, for sending that in. That is a really big deal. If you want to see more information about stuff like that, it will show up in the newsletter. And like I said, that's what Jonna, she was showing off her Mayberry quilt that she had made, where each square represents something about the Andy Griffith Show. And so it's really fun. So if you have a chapter of the Andy Griffith Show Rio and Watchers Club, feel free to email me your information about your chapter. We would love to hear from you. I always love updates like that. We had the Colorado Fishing Hole Whistlers chapter. They wrote in with information, and so did Got Time for Breathe, Got Time for Music. We got several chapters that called in. Check out the information in the newsletter. Go check out Weaver's newsletter. So that's about it. I don't want to go over everything in the newsletter, but that is probably enough. There's a lot of other things in there, especially products for sale. We got the Andy Griffith Show Squad Car 1964 version. It's a big one. It's a 1/43rd scale. I finally said that correctly. Every other week I've said it incorrectly. They got a Mayberry patrol car, like it got a car coaster. It goes in your car. It's a coaster, but it goes in your car cup holder. That's what those are for. That's why it's called a car coaster. There you go. Also keychains, got those in there as well. There's information about stuff here on the internet, just like this podcast and other things, but go and check it out and just let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy the Weavers newsletter. There will be a link in the show notes for you to be able to go and look at this month's, or May's. I got it out at the end of May, so it was the May newsletter. It was right at the end of May, but it was May, and you can check that out and maybe subscribe if you'd like to. All right, let's see. So we already did a little bit of messages here from Chris. So let's go to a voicemail I got. This one is from Jeff Kuntz, and he's referring back to a previous episode of the podcast. So let's hear from Jeff.
Hey, Allan, this is Jeff Kuntz. Quick follow-up on podcast 829, Opie and the Bully. Listening to the part about meat on a black eye sent me down the internet rabbit hole and found an interesting 10-year-old post on Reddit. Quickly reading, this is a practice that's no longer used or advised due to health concerns over uncooked meat touching one of your most vulnerable sensory organs. It originally started when the coldest thing we had in our ice box was a chunk of meat. Since cold compress can be used to effectively reduce swelling, it was a common practice to take a hunk of meat, which is both cold and flexible, and apply it to an area of swelling. The practice slowly died out as more effective means of cold compress were invented and utilized. I grew up with my mother keeping a bag of peas in the freezer for this very reason, so anytime I had a black eye or bump in the head, we used a pack of frozen peas, and this is the writer, not myself. Although I've personally put frozen vegetables on a bump. So continuing on, nowadays we have ice packs that can be substituted that are both cold and flexible and much more effective at retaining the cold temperatures. And in the too long didn't read edition at the end, it was because it was cold, meant to reduce swelling. You shouldn't do this anymore unless you want some crazy meat disease in your eyes. So there you go. Now you know. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jeff. I never knew you could get a meat disease in your eyes, but that doesn't sound far-fetched. So if you remember, this is from the episode Opie and the Bully. That was what episode number 829 was about. So if you'd like to go back and listen to that, Andy was taking a steak to put on Opie's black eye. But Opie was afraid it was going to make the swelling go down and everything. The color would go away too quick. So Andy decided not to do that. But he did fold up a steak to put it on his eye. And Jeff was just curious. That's a great question, great information. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'd never thought about it too much because, I'd grown up where you were supposed to put something on your eye like that, to keep the swelling down. And you use, I'd always heard steak. I never did that, I don't think. I did have like English peas. A bag of English peas, you could put that on there. That seemed less messy. I never used actual meat, but I did do that. And they weren't goober peas. They were they were English peas, but it was fun. All right. So we have another message. Let's see. This is from another Jeff. He wrote in, I thought this was kind of cool, story that happened. He said, I've been a lifelong fan of the Andy Griffith Show. My 2-year-old daughter has been a lifelong fan of pickles. So her 2-year-old daughter is a fan of pickles. So inspiration struck one night, and I introduced her to the pickle story. Now, almost every night, my daughter and I get a bowl of pickles and watch the Andy Griffith Show together. She loves it and refers to the show as the Pickle Show. She often asks me to turn it on and quickly adds that she wants to eat pickles too. She picks up on the characters and points them out, saying things like, Barney wears a hat, Even at 2 years old, she has a favorite episode that she often requests. My wife works in the Mother's Day Out program at our church, and our 3 youngest children are part of that program. Yesterday, they had their end of the year party. During a break, my daughter's teacher came in the break room and told my wife, "I'm sorry to hear about Jimmy. Who is he?" My wife was confused. She asked the teacher what she was talking about, and the teacher said that our daughter came in that morning and told them that Jimmy was going to die. My wife and the teacher went back to the classroom and asked my daughter what she was saying. My daughter said again that Jimmy was going to die. My wife asked her who Jimmy is. My daughter said enthusiastically, she said the goat from the pickle show. Awesome. Great job, Jeff. So he sent that to me to share with you guys. I thought that was great. So poor Jimmy, he's going to die. He's going bluey. He's going to go bluey. You're raising your kids right. Thank you very much for doing that. That is awesome. We have one more message here. This is from Carlton. And they were telling me this. Carlton was saying he watched the Danny Thomas show, Backdoor Pilot, the Andy Griffith show the other evening. And he said, although it's seen several times, he didn't remember that the film crew had removed the windshield and the back glass from the patrol car that Andy was driving as well. So, and also the windshield from Danny's car that he was driving, he's came back. He had never seen that. And he said he had heard Andy mention Aunt Lucy as being Opie's caregiver. He was interested in that. He didn't know that Aunt Lucy instead of Aunt B was who it was. Anyway, so he's been watching it since the show began, and he just wanted to write that in. So you may not have noticed that either. You may not have noticed the window being missing. So it's something you wouldn't notice, except there's no glare. They took it out so the lights would not reflect on it. And so that's the reason it's not there. And I have one final one. I didn't realize I did. So this one is from Dennis. He's Rube Sloan in our chat room, by the way. He said, Allan, I know you've mentioned on several occasions about the Andy Griffith Show characters on other TV shows and movies, but I've never heard you mention about Ozzie and Harriet show. And I don't think I ever have. He said, I've attached a list, and he did, of several characters from the Andy Griffith Show and I Love Lucy. They appeared, they were together, or they appeared that way. He says that he noticed they were on those shows. Many of them were very prominent players for several years on many episodes. Otis Campbell, Mayor Stoner, and others make more appearances on Ozzie and Harriet than they appeared on the Andy Griffith Show. Also, several appeared in the late 50s and early 60s before the Andy Griffith Show even began. There are even a few similarities to the episode plots, such as Otis, Hal Smith, Drunk in Jail, a group camping and fishing and catching a big fish. That's kind of interesting. He was just hoping that we'd take a look at this and give our opinion. By the way, Ozzie and Harriet had a lot of very funny episodes during their 14-year run. That's a long time. Even though the Andy Griffith Show is still my all-time favorite, I must admit that writers for Ozzie and Harriet put together some very funny one-liners. I'm sure they did, because they were on a long time, and Harriet was hilarious. They were funny people, both of them. When you get a chance, take a look, and I did. So, Dennis, thank you very much. I've been showing it here on the show. I don't think you can see all of them if you're watching the video version, but it's almost everything that's on the page, I do believe. And he sent this really nice list of characters on both shows and how many times they appeared on the different shows. So there you go. Great list, and I really appreciate you sending it to me. That is always something that's fun to find information about our friends from the Andy Griffith Show that appeared on other shows. And I think that's all the feedback I have for this episode. So let's wrap it up by just playing a little bit of trivia. How about that? So the last week's episode of the podcast, episode 840, was about the Clubmen. And we went over some trivia that I'd found on MeTV. Well, they have 2 trivia things about that particular show. So let me play some trivia background music for us, and we will play the daily Andy Griffith Show quiz for the Clubmen. I think this is the one we haven't played, I hope. Let me start and we'll find out. And all right, so number 1, I'm going to give you the answers right after we do it. Or we're going to try, right? All right, so here we go. Number 1, who says, "Boy, you're a clown, you are. Why don't you just put a red light on your nose and go into the circus? Go in the circus." Phew. Let me read that again. Who says, "Boy, you're a clown, you are. Why don't you put a red light on your nose and go in the circus?" Who says that? The answers that are provided is either Floyd, Andy, or Barney. So who says it? I think it's Barney. Yes, it's Barney. All right. So we got that one right. So you and 90% of the people got that correct if you said Barney. All right. Number 2. There's 10 questions, by the way. Number 2. Who says, "Floyd, would you ask Barney the name of this club before he has a spell?" Okay. Who said it? Floyd, would you ask Barney the name of this club before he has a spell? Was it Aunt B, Andy, or Opie? The answer is Andy. It was Andy. You and 94% of the people got it right if you said Andy. Number 3. Who says this could be the beginning of a whole new life for us? Oh, this one's harder. Who says this could be the beginning of a whole new life for us? Was it Andy, Barney, or Floyd? I think it was Barney. What do you think? Barney. Yes, Barney is the correct answer. And basically 91.7% of the people got that right. All right, number 4. I'm going to miss one of these. You just want. Number 4. Who says we ain't got any stocks or bonds? In fact, we don't have any stuff. Okay, who says we ain't got any stocks or bonds? In fact, we don't have any stuff. We don't got any stuff. That's what he actually says. Who said that? Was it Andy, Barney, or Opie? We ain't got stocks or bonds. In fact, we ain't got any stuff. The answer to that one, I'm pretty sure, is Andy. Andy said it. Yeah, Andy said it. Ooh, this one's a little harder. Only 58.7% of people, according to MeTV, got this one right, taking this quiz online. Number 5. What's the name of Andy's friend who suggests he join the club? What's the name of Andy's friend who suggests he join the club? Was it Fred, Roger, or Jackson? Fred, Roger, or Jackson? The answer, it was Roger. Roger asked for that, right? 85% of the people got that one right. Okay, number 6. Who says social contacts and think of the business contacts? Who says social contacts and think of the business contacts? Was it Andy, Floyd, or Barney? I don't know. Who y'all saying this one is? I think it's Barney. Is it Barney? Yes, it was Barney. Woo, 72.6% got that one. All right, number 7. Who says you look good enough to take to the fireworks display? I know this one for sure. Who says you look good enough to take to the fireworks display? Was it Andy, Floyd, or Barney? It was Andy, and he said it to Barney when he came in when they were fixing to head to the club. All right, number 8. What changes on the show's set began with this episode? Oh, my goodness. What changes on the show's set beginning with this episode? What changes? Was it the map behind Andy's desk? Was it the window in the jail cell, the second jail cell? Or was it the fireplace at the Taylor home? What changed in this particular episode? We didn't talk about this. So this is something I think you guys would want to check out. I believe that it wouldn't be the map because that happened in other episodes. The fireplace didn't change other than the mantle. So I'm going to guess that it is the window in the second jail cell in the courthouse. Oh, no, it was the map behind Andy's desk. Well, see, 37.3% of the people got that right. I got to disagree with them because the map behind Andy's desk had changed multiple times up to this point. And I don't know, maybe it stayed the same. It did change that episode. It did. So I don't know. All right, there you go. I missed one. How did you do? Number 9. Barney makes a fool of himself discussing which dessert, tiramisu, baked Alaska, or peach cobbler. I feel like we already did that one. It was which dessert? You know, Andy, it's that one since they became a state. It's baked Alaska. 89.7% of people got that one right. And our last question, what's the name of the club the fellas don't join? Oh, I almost said that earlier. What's the name of the club the fellows do not join? Was it the Enterprise Club, the Esquire Club, or the Royal Order of Water Buffalo? The answer is Esquire Club. I think the Royal Order of Water Buffalo, wasn't that the Flintstones? Wasn't he in that club? All right, so there is our answers. So how did you guys do? How did you do on those? You probably did better than me. I got, what did I get, 9? I got 9. I missed one. See, I told people, I tell you, I'm not that good at the trivia. That's why I ask the trivia questions, right? So I do have a couple of things I wanted to mention. Last week's episode, we talked about the Clubmen, right? We actually talked about that. And in that episode, I gave some information about odd facts known by few. Of course, you hopefully read or heard that information. I'm not sure if you did, but in it, we talked about odd facts known by few about the Clubmen. There was an error. A piece of bad information I gave you about the odd facts. In the odd facts, we talked about the club members, Roger Courtney, Cliff Britton, Tom Wilson, Jim Baker, John Danby, and George Bronson were all being named after teachers who taught at the school where Andy taught during his brief stint as a public school teacher. That is incorrect. That was wrong. It was wrong. It's an error. That's not true. It is widely reported, but it is incorrect. Randy Turner contacted me and got with me about that. And we went through the information, and he is 100% right. He has the actual yearbooks from that. So he was able to show me he was able to look in the yearbooks. He didn't have to show me. He looked in the yearbooks and was able to pull out the information from the yearbook so you could see it. Now, just so happened that last week, the Andy Griffith Museum actually posted a picture of the yearbooks online. And you were able to see that, at least in this pictures, none of those names actually appeared with Andy. Andy is in the picture, but it's not, it doesn't have any of those guys' names. So we're pretty sure that is not correct. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that and were given that information and to try to correct it as well. So I always like to give out good information. I don't like to give out bad information. So when I can, I try to fix it. Hopefully that's helpful, and bad information won't continue to spread any worse, at least because of me. Well, folks, I believe that is the information I have for you this week. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. Or you can just drop by twochairsnowaiting.com. There's all that information about how to get in touch with me there. I would love to hear from you. Folks, thanks for being here with me in Mayberry. I hope you enjoyed it. Go out and subscribe to the Weavers newsletter. Go out and check out the latest Weavers newsletter for May of 2025. And hopefully we'll see you at a Mayberry event sometime soon. Maybe the Mayberry Meetup in July. We'd love to see you then. Folks, until next time, have a great week, and we'll see you here on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.